各位老师，大家晚上好！感谢大家在百忙之中抽出时间来参加今天的讲座。我是本场讲座的主持人，山东艺术学院的吕子琼，很高兴有机会跟大家在线上交流学习。本次讲座呢是视觉与文化系列讲座的第47期。本次系列讲座由绍兴市柯桥区基山书院与会稽山佛学高等研究院主办，李林师生团队承办。本次讲座我们很荣幸邀请到了印度的拉杰什老师来和大家分享以阿占陀石窟艺术为中心的这一专题的内容。下面我将对拉杰什老师的学术经历进行简述。拉杰什老师是印度巴罗达大学的艺术史博士，为印度3所大学的讲师，印度文化部前高级研究员，专注南亚考古和佛教艺术研究30余年，为印度佛教石窟特别是阿占陀石窟的研究上成绩斐然。目前已出版8部专著，在国际顶级学术期刊发表21篇论文，是重新发现阿占陀石窟项目的顾问。首先感谢拉杰什老师即将给大家分享的内容。然后将要介绍的是本场讲座的翻译刘刚老师。刘刚老师，佛学硕士，毕业于香港大学佛学研究中心，现任敦煌研究院敦煌学信息中心助理馆员，擅长敦煌石窟艺术图像与跨文化交流，参与编撰藏经洞敦煌艺术精品大英博物馆，主译敦煌服饰文化图典盛唐卷。期待刘刚老师将要给我们带来的生动翻译。接下来再容我向大家介绍本场讲座的评议人李林老师。李林老师，美术史博士，专业方向为佛教图像学，已出版18部著作，发表120篇论文，多次踏查印度、巴基斯坦及东南亚诸国佛教遗迹，为以色列国家高研院合作教授，印度尼赫鲁大学2次访问学者，中国国家博物馆研究员，四川大学特聘研究员、博士生导师，山东艺术学院外聘研究生导师。感谢李老师将要给我们带来的精彩评议。接下来，我们把时间交给拉杰什老师，为大家开始这场学术讲座。Hello, Mr. Rajesh. It's an honor for you to give this lecture. Welcome. You can share your content. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Lu, for your kind introduction. And I also thank Professor Ling for organizing this lecture series. This is the second part of the lecture series. And I also thank Mr. Richard Liu from Dunhuang Academy for translating this lecture series, this lecture of today.
刘刚，你那个声音是关闭的，我们听不到。
哦，好的，李老师，我现在有声音了。
有了，有了。
哦，好，不好意思，刚才可能那个误操作。好，那我就把刚才再重新再说一下。感谢吕子琼同学热情洋溢的介绍，感谢李林老师组织这一系列的讲座，同时感谢今天译者对这次讲座的翻译。OK，please，Mr. Rajesh。
Yeah. And I thank the organizers, the institutions for the academy for organizing this lecture series. And at the outset, I would like Archaeological Survey of India. They have helped me in my research work. And Mr. Rishi Khanna, Mr. Rishi from New Delhi, who is a sponsor of my research. I'd like to thank him also for helping my research work, and that allows me to share my research work with you.
感谢会稽山佛学研究院组织的这一次系列讲座，感谢我的赞助机构印度考古调查局资助了我这一系列的讲座，非常感谢。please, Rajesh.
Okay. Now I would like to begin the lecture presentation.
现在我将开始我的讲座。
So today's topic is the uh, it was written in the poster Ajanta painting, but I would extend it to also include sculptures. And because there is really no difference between painting and sculpture other than the medium. When we talk about iconography, this iconography, the system of iconography governed both paintings and sculptures, and therefore it is more appropriate to call this lecture on Ajanta iconography.
今天讲座的主题是阿占陀石窟的图像，但是我还会把我今天的讲座延伸到塑像，因为塑像因为壁画也是壁画和塑像都是图像研究的内容。李老师，
Oh,
我可没有那个啥，全部翻就是主要的意思吧啊。
okay, and
没事没事，可以。
those friends from China who have not come to India before and who have not had the chance to see the Ajanta caves, I would like to give them a tour, visual tour of how Ajanta looks like through using Google Street View.
对于没有来的
I
对于没有来过阿占陀石窟的中国朋友，我将使用一个视觉工具，也就是谷歌街景
great,
来
great.
展示。
So this is cave number one, and um, I will just giving you a glimpse of how these paintings of these caves are. These caves are uh, different from the Chinese caves.
这是阿占陀第一窟教授用这个 Google Map 给大家展示了阿占陀石窟的一些内部结构。So please，
Just see, these are very, very big caves, very large caves, and because in India the mountains are made of basalt rock, and in the basalt rock it is made of volcanic lava, and it was possible to make deeper caves, which was not possible in many Chinese caves.
阿占陀石窟非常大，然后它阿占陀石窟所在的这个山体呢非常的坚硬，这种石质呢可以开凿非常深的洞穴，这种洞窟呢和中国的石窟呢不一样。
So this is cave number one, and now I will show you just first 5 minutes. I will take you to all the painted caves. There are actually 6 painted caves. Cave number one, cave number two, cave number 9, cave number 10, and 16 and 17.
前5分钟，拉杰什教授将介绍给大家用5分钟的时间介绍阿占陀石窟的第一窟、第二窟、第九窟、第10窟、第16和17窟，因为这几个洞窟呢里面都是有壁画、有内容的。
So these are the caves which have the paintings. Cave number 1, 2, 9, 10, 16, and 17.
这6个洞窟里面有壁画、有内容。
And so just now I showed you cave number 1. Now I will show you how the cave number 2 looks from inside.
接下来会从内部展示阿占陀石窟第二窟。
So this is the outside of Ajanta cave number 2.
这是阿占陀石窟第二窟外面的一些内容。
This is the veranda outside. This is the exterior, and this is the porch, and this is the colonnade, and this is the veranda. On the veranda, you had very nice Bodhisattva painted here. Now that Bodhisattva is completely gone. Just a little bit upper part is remaining here.
刚才教授展示的是第二窟前部的内容，然后在这些区域呢，有一些表现菩萨的一些壁画，这些壁画呢，有些已经消失了。
This is the upper part of the crown of Bodhisattva, which is seen here, and then the Vidyadharas, and the yakshas, various classes of yakshas, and Jainis are seen on the sky, and Kinnaras are seen dwelling in the forest.
这是第二窟前部前面上部的内容，表现的有一些药叉和菩萨，以及一些从上往下看森林里从上往下看的一些内容。
Now I will take you inside the cave, and see, this is the inside of the cave. Inside the shrine, inside the shrine, inner shrine, you have these multiple Buddha figures painted here, and Avalokiteshvara painted here, and Avalokiteshvara painted here.
这是第二窟佛龛内部的一些内容。刚才教授展示的是一些千佛题材。
And on the shrine antechamber, that is the shrine, and this is the shrine antechamber, and that is the hall. So between the antechamber, you have this 1000 Buddha theme.
在前室呢有千佛的题材，有1000个佛像。
So as you know, this 1000 Buddha theme is very famous in China. I found them everywhere.
千佛题材在中国非常的流行，教授在中国很多石窟都发现有千佛的内容。
And on this wall also, you can see this 1000 Buddha theme here.
在这面墙上，大家也可以看到有千佛的内容。
And on the wall, of course, on the and you see the ceiling is also so beautifully painted. These are roundels or medallions on the ceiling.
第二窟的窟顶呢非常的漂亮，有各种的画绘的图案的装饰。
Yeah, so this is inside the hall of the same cave. You can see on the hall, on the ceiling, you have the beams and rafter pattern painted on the ceiling.
在这个窟顶，大家可以看到一些廊柱，上面有很精美的图案。
So the ceiling, that time there was this wooden architecture, and in wooden architecture, you needed these beams, and then beams were joined by rafters, and between again these rafters, again you have beams, and the intersection was painted with floral patterns. This was imitated by painting in the ceiling.
在这个窟顶原来是木质结构的建筑，上面有一些梁，在梁之间有一些图案。
All over you can see that, and so ceiling was reserved for decorative paintings or what you say non-narrative paintings.
在窟顶上有这些壁画的图案的装饰题材。
In Ajanta, ceiling does not have any narrative painting.
在窟顶上我们没有叙事性的题材内容。
So this is very different from what I found in China. In China, I found even in ceiling, some narrative paintings are there in some caves.
这和中国非常的不同。在中国的石窟呢，在窟顶上有很多叙事性的题材，而在印度呢，窟顶上是一些装饰性的题材。
But in Ajanta, the narrative themes, the stories of Buddha, the life of Buddha or Buddha's previous life, all the narrative paintings, they're only there on the wall.
在印度的石窟当中，叙事性的题材，无论是佛陀的佛传，还是本身故事，全部都绘制在墙壁上。
This is, for example, the birth of the Buddha. See, that is the baby Buddha, that is Mahamaya, that is the baby Buddha, that is Indra, and that is Brahma, who have taken the baby Buddha from the right side of Mahamaya.
这个题材是讲述的是佛陀降生的场景。摩耶夫人从右腋之下生下了释迦 释迦摩尼，旁边有帝释天和梵天，那个小的就是小的那个形象就抱在怀里的就是小佛陀的形象。
Uh, this Indra has the third eye. That's very interesting. It's a very well preserved, relatively well preserved painting.
第十天有第三只眼睛保存的非常好，也非常的这个形象也非常的有趣。
And but right now, I'm not going to talk much about the content right now because the first 10 minutes I wanted to spend only in giving you an overview of all the paintings. Therefore, let us go to the next cave where we see painting, that is cave number 10.
前几分钟教授会给大家一个大体的概念，关于这些壁画，不会详细的介绍每个壁画的内容。
This is okay. This is cave number 9. It was uh, this cave number 9 is very early, first century BC or second century BC.
这是第九窟，也是阿占陀最早的石窟之一，开凿于公元前1世纪左右。
And this has very old paintings, but unfortunately, the lower part of all the painting is gone, damaged, permanently lost, and even the upper part, the painting is preserved very little bit. This is first century BC painting.
第九窟的壁画非常的古老，遗憾的是门廊下面的壁画已经永久的损坏了，现在能看到是上部的一些壁画的内容。
And later on, after 600 years, when it was 5th century AD, that time it was a different phase, and they started making image of the Buddha. And that time, inside this cave, they made images of the Buddha later on.
600年后，也就是公元5世纪的时候，他们开始在这些廊柱上绘制壁画，佛陀的形象。
So this cave was repainted in that 600 years later, it was repainted.
500年后，这些他们重新绘制了这些壁画。
Okay, this is cave number 6, lower 6. Even this cave had a lot of painting on the ceiling, which is now much damaged.
这是第六窟，但是很多壁画呢已经被破坏了。
Inside the shrine, you can see the ceiling is so wonderfully painted.
在第六窟内部，大家能看到非常精美的壁画。
And on the left side, left wall of the inner shrine, again you have the same thing, multiplication of Buddhas.
在这个佛龛左边，大家能看到很多千佛的图像。
So this is not much cleaned so far, and therefore we cannot see the detail. But actually, it is the scene of Mahapratiharya, that is miracle of Shravasti.
是这块壁画呢没有清洗，但实际上他们表现的是舍卫城大神变的内容。
There is a difference between 1000 Buddha, that is multiplication of Buddha, and Mahapratiharya, which is miracle of Shravasti. Because here there is a lotus stalk going on from here. There is a lotus stalk going on from here. There is a lotus stalk going from here. So when we have lotus stalk going on from here, that means all the Buddha images are emanations from the central Buddha.
这个呢表现的是大神变的内容，因为大家可以从这个底下看到有莲花从上长出来，所以所以他们都是佛陀的形象。
So that means it is a miracle of Shravasti, because according to the story, in Shravasti, Buddha performed miracle in front of the heretics. He performed some magic and he multiplied himself. So in that theme, many Buddha emerged from the central Buddha figure. So and all the different Buddha figures are connected by lotus stalk.
这个表现的是围成大神殿的内容，因为佛陀在异教徒前面展示了大神殿，这些佛像都是从中间的佛陀延伸出来的一些内容。
And here in the shrine antechamber, we have another uh, painting. I'm forgetting the theme of the painting over here. Uh, this is also this is very badly damaged painting. Otherwise, this uh, here this was an intrusive painting. Buddha with a standing bodhisattva.
现在教授展示的是一些侵入性的壁画内容，表现的是佛陀旁边有两身站立的菩萨。
And so whenever we have on the wall in Ajanta, whenever we have simply non-narrative, because it is not a narrative thing, Buddha with Bodhisattva, that means it is intrusive. Intrusive means in 477, the cave was abandoned. After that, some people came and they donated these paintings.
这些是一些侵入性的题材，也就是在阿占多石窟被废弃之后，有人重新再绘制了这些内容。
This is cave number 16, and it is one of the largest caves of Ajanta, as you can see.
这是第16窟，也是阿占陀最大的石窟之一。
This was patronized by Varahadeva. He was the prime minister of the empire.
sorry,
The
I did.
donor, the donor of this cave temple was Varahadeva.
洞窟的供养人是这个瓦尔达，
Varahadeva.
嗯。
The donor of the temple was Varahadeva. Varahadeva was the prime minister of the empire.
洞窟的供养人是这个国家的大臣，他呃
And but very unfortunate things happen here, because although this was the prime minister cave, but war happened during when Ajanta was being excavated. War broke out, many conflicts happened, so the paintings were not completed. Say for example, this is the scene of Bhagavan, that is the from the birth, the scenes from the life of Buddha.
尽管这是大臣作为供养人的洞窟，但是很遗憾，这些壁画也没有保存的特别好。这些是呃这些也是这个洞窟里面的一些内容。
So it has many episodes from the time of the birth of Siddhartha up to Mahaparinirvana. It must be planned, but unfortunately, you see, all this wall is painted, but that side is not painted. Let us see that side.
这些内容表现的是佛陀从出生到涅槃的一些题材。
Yeah, see this side, it is simply plaster but no painting. Plaster but no painting. But no painting. Because the painting stops up to here. The painting comes up to here and then stops. This side, no painting.
在洞窟的这一边呢，没有壁画，尽管有这些作为这个地藏的一些题材，但是没有壁画也保存下来。
When the painter was trying to complete this painting, and maybe Buddha's the last episodes about his parinirvana, etc., and his first sermon, etc., I think he was all must be planned here, but something happened, war broke out, and the painter never came back. This area was never completed.
当这些艺术家尝试绘制这些壁画的时候， 可能受到了一些其他外力的因素，所以这些画家没有继续再回到这个地方进行，没有回到阿占头进行重新绘制，继续他们的这个壁画的绘制。
See, this side, no painting, nowhere this painting,
在这一边呢，没有壁画，
not even plaster, even plastering is not done.
甚至连这些地障层也没有制作。
But this side, this painting is not by Varahadeva. Even this was blank. But after Varahadeva left, after the cave was abandoned, when nobody was here, then somebody came and he found blank wall and there was one or two artists around. He just paid them some money and said, make some painting for me here. And this theme was made here called Maha Samaj.
呃，sorry sir，
I'm
I
saying, I'm saying that this painting was done here, was painted here because it was it was empty wall before. After Varahadeva left, after the site was abandoned, somebody came and painted here.
当阿占陀石窟被放弃之后，有人继续来在这里绘制了壁画。
And yeah, so cave number, this is this uh, last time I had shown uh, about the sculptures, and this time I'll show you some paintings here. On the
呃，上
other side, on the other side, this is the Nanda story.
现在展示的是难陀的故事。
Yeah. So about the painting and the detail, I will show later on. But you can see that some part is painted, other part not painted.
这里展示的是难陀的一些故事，有些展示了，有些没有展示，有些没有绘制。
Yeah. Same is the story everywhere. In
同
this whole cave, that story is there in whole cave.
同样的情况也在洞窟的其他地方也是依然如此。
Now we come to cave number 17.
现在我们来到了第17窟。
So this cave number 17 uh, is very famous because it has the painting maximum preserved paintings.
17窟非常的著名，它保存了非常多的壁画。
And this is the veranda of cave 17. You can see in veranda also so
呃
wonderfully painted.
这里是第17窟的前世，大家可以看到17窟前世的一些内容。
So now I have given you a glimpse of through Google walkthrough. I have given you a glimpse of how this looks like. See, these are all paintings on the wall.
刚才教授给大家展示了，给大家一个整体的关于阿占陀石窟的印象。
Everything is painted so wonderfully.
洞窟里面绘制了非常精美的壁画。
There are 84, there are 84 stories painted in these caves, in Ajanta. Total 84 I have identified.
阿占陀石窟绘制了84种故事。
Actually, there are 94. There are 94 stories identified, out of which 84 stories I collected and published in one of my books.
实际上呢是有94个故事。拉杰什教授在他的书中汇集了84个。
So I've given you a brief overview. Let us now go to the next part of my presentation.
接下来进入下一部分的内容。
So whatever I'm presenting here is derived from four main publications.
教授在今天讲座中展示的内容主要 自于这一张 PPT 所展示的4本书的内容。
One is I don't know why it is like this. Okay, so one is this the left side. On the left side is the book by Professor Dieter Singh from Germany.
第一个展示的是德国教授施林洛夫的写的书。
Dieter Singh
杰特施林洛夫，
from Germany.
来自德国。
He has spent 5 decades and compiled all the Ajanta narrative paintings in one fat volume.
施林洛夫花了50年的时间整理了阿占陀石窟叙事性的内容。
And each and every painting, he made line drawings and identified the textual sources preserved in the preserved texts.
施林洛夫给每一幅壁画都绘制了线描图。
And the second book is by Monica Zen.
第二本书是莫妮卡金所著。
So this is her book published called Handbook. This is another handbook. In this book, she compiled all the non-narrative paintings.
在第二本书中，莫妮卡汇集了所有一些非叙事性的内容。
Every single motif, every single non-narrative figure and design, she identified, and she also identified the literary and textual sources.
他在书中汇集了不非叙事性内容，包括提供了一些相关的文本的内容。
So any student, anybody who want to study Ajanta caves and paint Ajanta paintings in detail, these 2 books are must.
任何研究阿占陀石窟的学者和学生，都这2本书是必需品，必须要阅读的2本书。
And in this book, they reproduce line drawings, not photographs.
他又重新制作了线描图。
So I was inspired from these 2 publications, and I made 2 publications later on. My publications, these 2 are my publications.
拉杰什教授受到了这2本书的启发，写了右边这2本书。
These 2 publications are based on Singlov's publication.
拉杰什教授的2本书呢，是受到了这个施林洛夫教授的启发。
So I have made a summary of the stories and 1 photograph for each story I have produced here.
教授总结了每一个故事，并且给他配了图片。
So it is the first book in which at least 1 photo of 84 stories can be found inside 1 volume.
在一本书当中可以找到阿占陀石窟84个带有图片的介绍。
And 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph summary of each story is produced here, written here.
用1张图或者2张图介绍了壁画叙事性故事的内容。
So now we'll go to the next part of the presentation. In my presentation in Ajanta, there are 3 things that I want to show. One is the classification system. All the painting and sculptures.
教授要展示的有3部分内容。第一个是对图像的分类。
So in Ajanta, all the Ajanta art and iconography can be divided into 2 segments. One is the narrative, another is non-narrative.
阿占陀 的图像可以分为两类：叙事性和非叙事性的内容。
Now, the narrative can be divided the two types of narrative. One is life of Shakyamuni, another is previous life of Shakyamuni.
叙事性的内容可以分为两类，一类是释迦牟尼的佛传故事，另一类是释迦牟尼生前的故事。
So, in life of Shakyamuni, that is the Buddhist legends or the story which are about the life of Shakyamuni. These have been painted by Ajanta Painters. And the previous life, that is when he was a Bodhisattva in previous incarnations, and that is called Jatakas and Avadanas. So those things have been painted.
佛传故事就是讲述释迦牟尼的生平事迹，而释迦牟尼生前的故事呢，就是由本身故事和因缘譬喻故事构成。
So in Ajanta, there are two things found. Previous lives of Buddha are again of two types. One is Jatakas, another is Avadanas.
两种，一种就是本身故事和因缘譬喻故事。
So Jatakas are, uh, Jatakas, the word Jataka is used when the nearest textual source is from the nearest textual parallel is found in the Pali sources.
与本身故事有关的内容，就是保存在巴律文献当中，巴律文献当中保存了最近似的内容。
And in Ajanta, the total 11 stories can be traced to the Pali sources.
这些故事可以追溯到巴利语的文本经典当中。
That is the nearest version can be found in Pali.
在巴利语当中可以找到最近的。
And there are nearly 74 stories whose nearest version, closest version, can be found in the Sarvastivadin scriptures.
与之相关最近的74个故事，可以在说一切有部当中找近似的内容。
And these Sarvastivadin scriptures were not in Pali.
说一切有部的内容并不是用巴利语所写，
The original was written in Sanskrit.
最原始的是用梵语来书写的。
It was more popular in the Gandhara region and in the ancient times in Andhra and Mathura.
在古代的犍陀罗区域呢，和安达罗地区，梵语书写是非常的流行。
But this was not in favor in the Buddhist cave temples in the earliest times.
但是在早期石窟当中，这种做法并不受欢迎。
I will talk more about the time and period later on in the lecture.
教授在稍后的内容将会讨论到不同时期，这些不同的，在后面时代不同的一些变化。
Right now, only the students who are like on the graduate level or postgraduate level or on the doctoral level or young researchers, they should understand the fine differences between all this terminology.
本科生、研究生和博士生必须要知道这些不同时代的差异。
So Avadana is the word that is found in these Sarvastivadin sources in Sanskrit.
譬喻故事呢，是在说一切有部当中出现于说一切有部当中的一些经典当中。
Okay, now let us come to the non-narrative part.
接下来是非叙事性的内容。
So non-narrative part, there are two types of non-narrative paintings, mainly two types. One is the decorative, another is devotional.
在非叙事性的题材当中有两类，一类是装饰性的内容，还有一类是一些仪式性的内容。
So decorative is those patterns or motifs or designs which are found on the ceiling pillar and door frames.
装饰性的内容是一些绘制在窟顶、石柱以及门框或者窗框附近的一些母题或其他一些内容。
So all those designs that we were able to find in the ceiling, we call that decorative. It has no story to tell.
在这些窟顶装饰性的内容当中，我们找不到叙事性的题材。
Even on the pillars, you see many carvings you see on the pillar or many kind of designs you see in the pillar, either painting or carving. It has no story to tell.
在石柱上，我们也找不到叙事性的内容。
And in the door frames, the Ajanta doorway, all doorways and windows, they also have many types of designs. And those designs also do not have any story to tell.
在门框和窗框那里，我们可以发现很多设计，但是没有一些在那里没有故事表现。
So all of them are clubbed under the uh, uh, decorative paintings.
它们都属于装饰性的题材壁画。
Now let us come to the devotional. Even these are the ones which don't tell any story, but they are different.
呃，这些接下来要讲的是一些关于仪式性的内容。
Devotion means bhakti. Devotion means bhakti or veneration or worship.
仪式性意味着一些供养等与宗教相关的一些东西。
So sometimes, as we have seen just now, there's simply a Buddha figure. Some on a pillar, they painted a Buddha figure. There is no story. It's simply a Buddha figure
在
because it is devotional. Buddha means devotion and worship.
在石柱上我们可以看到有佛陀的形象，因为他们是一些仪式性的内容。
Then I also showed you one example where there is Buddha triad. That is Buddha with bodhisattvas.
接下来是佛像三宗，指的就是一佛二菩萨，佛身边站着有两身菩萨的形象。
So that Buddha and Bodhisattva we call triad because they are three, and it is repeated everywhere, many places. Just Buddha triad painted or sculpted, painted and sculpted, many dozens of hundreds of them in Ajanta. You will find there is no story.
佛像三宗在安传统石窟非常的多，他们主要就表现的是一佛和二菩萨。
And then sometimes you have Bodhisattva alone, as on the door side. When you are entering inside the cave, on the left of the door and on the right of the door, you find one Bodhisattva on the left side and one Bodhisattva on the right side.
在门两侧，大家可以我们进入阿占头石窟可以看到有单独的菩萨像，在左边或者右边都有这样的菩萨的形象。
Yeah. So they are even they are like devotional because Bodhisattva in Bodhisattva Yana, also in Mahayana, Bodhisattva ideal became very important.
菩萨乘在那个时期，非常的流行。
And after that, you will see also some images of Avilokiteshvara, that is Guai.
接下来就是观音的题材。
And so even they are devotional because Guai was a subject of devotion for many devotees.
观音是很多供养性的供养神。
Then there was a subject called Samsara Chakra, for example. That is the cycle of birth, cycle of birth, Samsara Chakra, painted in Ajanta Cave 17.
接下来是轮回的题材，轮回的题材出现在阿占头第17窟。
That theme also has no story to tell, but it was of great devotional importance for the 5th century makers of Ajanta.
轮回题材没有一些故事性内容，只是
Yeah. 5th century maker of Ajanta, it was very important for them, this such themes.
公元5世纪阿占陀石窟当中，轮回题材是非常的重要。
Now we have that now we have I have explained in brief the classification of all Ajanta iconography.
教授刚才简要的介绍了一下阿占陀石窟图像研究的分类内容。
If you understand this, then you will understand all Ajanta properly and also other Indian art properly.
如果大家能够明白这个图像的分类的话，大家就能很明白阿占陀石窟以及其他印度的石窟。
A little bit of this probably also will apply to the Chinese caves.
我们也可以把这种分类应用到中国的石窟当中。
But in China, vast differences are found.
但是我们在中国的石窟有很巨大的不同。
So I'm not saying that this will apply as it is for the Chinese caves.
Sorry，
It will in Chinese caves the situations are very different. So a different classification system may be required for Chinese caves.
中国的石窟非常的不同，也许我们需要不同其他的分类体系，应用到中国的石窟当中。
So now let us come to the art and textual sources.
接下来是进入到艺术和文本资料的部分。
You know, say for example, let us come to cave number 10. I was in the Google map, I was showing you cave number 10. This is cave number 10.
现在是进入到第十窟，现在大家看到第十窟外面的内容。
This cave belongs to the painting in this cave was done in 2nd century BC or 1st century BC.
阿占陀石窟的壁画，第十窟的壁画完成于公元前2世纪到公元前1世纪。
And now we have entered inside the cave, and you can see that there were paintings on the wall. Unfortunately, most of the paintings have been destroyed.
大家在墙上可以看到壁画，但是很遗憾的是，非常不幸，底部的壁画已经被损毁了。
All this was painted. Everything was painted. Unfortunately, most of it is gone, but some paintings survive. Now government has put put the painting under glass.
印度政府在这些底部呢装了玻璃，为了保护这些底层的壁画。
Because people destroyed the paintings.
因为游客可能会损坏这些壁画。
Yeah. So I will describe to you the theme of those paintings.
接下来要介绍这些壁画的主题。
So inside that cave there was one narrative. It is gone. We cannot see it. Shyama Jataka.
这这里这个是闪子本身。
Shyama. In this cave there was Shyama Jataka, Shaddant Jataka, and Udayana and Bhagwan. That is the life of the Bhagwan Buddha.
Sorry, sir, I didn't understand.
Okay. In this Shyama, Shardanta, Bhagwan, Udayana.
这一页展示的是闪子本身、六牙大象本身、世尊的事迹以及优田王本身的内容。
So the nearest text, the nearest version of these paintings are found. Shyama is found in Pali Jataka verse.
与这些壁画最近的文本内容出现，我们可以在巴利语 本身经当中找到。
This Shardanta Jataka, which is painted here, is found again in Pali Jataka verse.
六牙大象本身同样也是在巴利语本身经当中找到最接近的内容。
And Bhagwan, that is the life of Buddha from his birth till his parinirvana. That is also painted in this cave. And the nearest literature, textual source, is found in 5 sources.
佛传故事讲述的释迦牟尼从出生到涅槃的内容，
Found
呃
in Majjhim Nikaya, Sutta Nipat, Parishad Sutta, Digh Nikaya, and Samyutta Nikaya.
佛传的故事呢出现在以下文本当中，中部、经部、四分律、长部以及相应部。
And the Udayana story was recently identified by Monica Zinn, and the nearest version is preserved in Dhammapada Takatha.
最近莫妮卡辨认出了幽天王的内容。幽天王与幽天王最近的文本题材出现在法句经注。
Now, these are the narrative paintings. These are the narrative paintings found inside our this cave. You know, it is so badly damaged, you cannot see anything. It is impossible to see anything. But uh, in the 19th century, some people made copies. Like Griffith made copies, Robert Gill made some copies. Those copies were published in London, and some detail can be found in those publications.
这个洞窟展示了刚才四种本身的内容。这个洞窟的壁画保存的非常的不好，但是19世纪19世纪有人制作了这些洞窟的呃copy 拍
Copies,
了
yeah.
也拍了这些洞窟的一些图片，也有呃OK。
Yeah, I got it. So now this was the decorative. This was the narrative painting that I explained. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that cave also has non-narrative themes. You know,
以
non-narrative themes are, yeah.
以上是介绍的是叙事性的内容，接下来要介绍非叙事性的一些内容。
So in the non-narrative, you have decorative painting on the ceiling. Like here, you can see these are just a decorative themes on the ceiling.
在洞窟，我们可以发现一些装饰性的题材，包括就是这些有绘制了一些莲花的图案，
Just some lotus.
只是一些莲花。
So that is also non-narrative. And again, some Buddha figure, for example, this Buddha figure, that Buddha figure, this is also non-narrative, but people simply came Buddha figure, they painted Buddha figures.
在廊柱上绘制了这些佛陀的形象。
They were done in 5th century AD.
这些绘制在佛陀，绘制在廊柱，这些佛陀的形象绘制于公元5世纪。
So now let us come to cave number 9.
接下来进入第9窟。
So see, even cave number 9, all the paintings in the wall are now vanished, on the lower side.
第九窟墙壁底部的壁画呢，已经消失了。
Only some painting is still preserved on the upper side.
只有在墙壁顶部的壁画保存了下来。
you can see this is a gateway. There's a gateway and a chatushala. It is called chatushala. That is uh, a door with a building having four quarters.
这里大家可以看到有这个台阶，有这个建筑物呢，有四
That is a city gate.
对，这个也展示的是台阶。
And other part of the painting is not clearly visible.
其他部分的壁画呢也看不清楚。
And same on this side also, you can see the painting is gone. Uh, this painting are totally vanished.
在墙壁的这一侧，壁画也消失了。
But from the old time, in some old photographs, uh, some fragments of the painting were visible. From that fragment, we are able to know what was painted over there.
在一些书籍的图片当中，我们可以部分的看到这些壁画的内容。
Even here, you can see some paintings were here on this wall.
在门顶上，我们也能看到壁画。
So, Professor uh, Singh and Professor Monica Zinn, they worked very hard to identify the paintings of cave number 9.
德国教授施林洛夫和莫妮卡非常努力的辨认了第九窟壁画的内容。
So this is a list of the paintings which were there, narrative paintings which were there in cave number 9.
这一页就是展示的是第九窟刚才教授指了这些第九窟当中叙事性的内容。
One was the story of Pandara.
一个故事是班达罗龙王，
The story of Mahagovinda.
第二个故事是大典尊的内容。
Shasha.
兔本生、
Kunal.
居那罗、
Then Udaya.
优陀耶王子的本身，
Yelapatra.
伊罗波多罗龙王本身
Kashyapa.
和迦叶本身，有关迦叶的内容。
And these are the textual sources where nearest literary parallels are found.
这些就是与壁画最近的文本的内容。
Now, the date of the paintings like 100 BC to 100 AD.
这些壁画的时代是公元前1世纪到公元1世纪。
But two paintings, Elapatra and Kashyapa, they were painted in the 5th century AD.
伊罗波多罗龙王和迦叶与迦叶有关的内容绘制于公元5世纪。
So, in my book, better photographs. In my book, better photographs can be seen of these paintings. So that is why I have also I brought my book also, because I'll try to show you at least one or two examples, because these are right now nothing can be seen, but
教授的书当中呢，展示了非常清晰的图片内容。教授可能会举1到2个例子来说明刚才的本身故事。
on the left side is the Pandara, the photo for Pandara story.
左边展示的是班达罗龙王的故事。
Now, you cannot see anything right now because it is very damaged. The painting is very damaged. So, even if the photograph is good, you are not able to see anything.
第六窟，这个班达罗王的壁画呢，损毁非常严重，即使有非常高质量的图片，也看的不是特别清楚。
And on the right side, is the Mahagovinda. This is and Okay, so this one is the Shasha story from Shasha.
这刚才教授指的介绍了这个大典尊以及这个兔本身的内容。
So
这个
yeah,
OK，please，
I'm not telling you the story because each story will occupy some minutes, and there are 84 stories in Ajanta.
教授不会按照每一个不会介绍每一个图片，因为每个图片都需要几分钟的时间。
And if you uh, 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 from Professor Ling or Professor Liu and Miss Lu, you can take the PDF of my book freely. I'm giving to everybody. You take from them.
教授说的，李林老师还有吕子晴同学可以把这些图片或者教授的书免费的分享给其他人。
And the story is written here. The photo and story is written here in this book.
这个书里面就介绍了这些壁画的内容。
Maybe you can translate and read.
大家可以翻译成中文来阅读。
So all Ajanta, 84 stories, photo plus a story in brief. In 2 paragraphs, the story in brief is written here in this book.
这个教授的书里面介绍了84个阿占特石窟当中的84个故事。
So I'm showing you both. One is the photograph from my book, another from Google walkthrough.
教授有两种展示，一种是这个书的内容，另外一个就是用谷
So
歌街景来展示。
yeah, and all the original photos. I have original photo. I want to put on a website.
教授想把这些阿占洞窟壁画的图片放在网站上。
And I shared my idea with Professor Liling that we should collaborate and make one very big database of all the photographs in my collection. I have lots and lots of photo because once you see, these paintings are very big, large paintings. Suppose it is a 30 feet painting, and if I print it in 5 inch, it becomes small and nothing is visible.
呃拉杰什教授和李林老师商量过，这个想法就是制作做一个大的数据库，因为这些图片的质量呢非常的高，呃，放在这些5英尺的书上呢，几乎很多细节也是看不太清楚的。
So this is the story of Dhanpal, that mad elephant.
呃
The
呃，
story of Dhanpal, one mad elephant, and so Devadatta, his Buddha's former cousin, arranged to murder the Buddha. Uh, by this, Dhanpal wanted to kill the Buddha.
这个也是一个本身故事，呃呃
这个是说那个提婆放那个风向要杀佛那个
就是佛陀降服
对
风象的那个
风向，
故事，对。
对对对。
But when the elephant came near the Buddha, the elephant bowed at the feet of the Buddha. You can see the elephant is simply bowing at the feet of the Buddha. This is the figure of the Buddha on the right
呃，
side.
对，
Buddha's hand is touching the head of the elephant.
佛陀摸了大象的头，呃
I'm deliberately I'm deliberately not telling the story in detail because each story will consume minimum 5 minutes.
教授说这个每一个故事都至少需要花费5分钟的时间，
And I cannot show you the photograph of each episode.
呃，不能展示这个每一个故事的内容。
I'm simply directing you to these publications and you study later on.
这个需要大家在会后自己去学习和查阅。
Yeah. So let us go to the next slide now. Uh, Earlier, I showed you cave number 16,
这
and
一
in
页
the, yeah.
这一页展示的是二战头第16库的内容。
So in that cave number 16, see, okay, when it is the matter of earlier times, like many works we were able to trace to the Pali sources.
有很多巴利语的经典当中，我们可以翻译。
But when you come to 5th century AD, other caves are 26 caves, 20 caves, 26 caves belong to 5th century AD.
阿占陀有至少有20个石窟，是开凿于公元5世纪。
So a lot of them, 74 of them, are from the Sarvastivada sources.
其中有17个都是属于呃说一切有部的内容，那个教派的内容。
So for example, from Arisuras, many of them are from Arisuras Bodhisattva Mala.
他们当中的大多数是阿利耶疏罗的《菩萨譬喻法曼》这部经典。
So I will read out the names of the narratives which are found in cave number 16.
这一页就是16窟相对应的壁画的内容。
One is Kumbha,
一个是陶器，这个我查的意思就是陶器，陶土的陶。
Vartaka Pot,
鹌鹑本身，
Ruru,
呃，鹿王本身，
Mahisha,
水牛本身，
Hastin,
大象本身，
Mahakapi,
猴王本身，
Bisha,
莲花镜，
Vyagri,
母虎本身，
Mukapangu,
牙跛仙人，
Vishwantara,
须达拿本身，
and Maitribala.
和慈利王本身。
Liu, is there a need for telling the English name of these?
I searched them on the internet and I give the corresponding Chinese
Corresponding.
name.
Okay. So, it is not possible in this lecture to tell all the story. Uh, Maybe one day Professor Ling will organize detailed lecture, 84 lecture story for 84 lectures for 84 stories.
在一个讲座当中，不可能详细的讲述所有的内容。也许，教授说这个，也许将来某一天，李林老师可以组织，大型的会议来详细的讨论这些不同的本身故事的内容。
Yes, Vappy.
and and then these are the other ones, and from my photo I will show you where these are. Let me go to cave number 16, because if you go through Google walkthrough, nothing you can see. The paintings are in very bad condition. Even my photos are also in very bad condition, but somehow you can see little bit. You can see this is cave number 16, and this is a very badly, as you can see, it's a very badly damaged painting. This is a story of Devavatara.
这是16窟的内容。
That is the descent of the God, when the Buddha is coming down to earth from the Tushita heaven.
这个是表现的是天神降临，佛陀从兜率天降临人间的故事。
Okay, and in this photo, there are two narratives. On the left side, we have Bisa narrative. You can't see anything.
这一页有2个 叙事件内容，但是看不太清楚。
But you can see it clearly in the line drawing made by Professor Shingloff in his handbook.
可以在德国教授施林洛夫的书中看到非常细致的这个线描图。
That is why if you are very frustrated with my lecture, not able to see anything, you should buy Professor Shingloff books. He has labored very hard to make line drawings. In line drawings, you can see many forms which are very clear.
大家可以买施林洛夫教授的书，在施林洛夫教授的书当中有非常精细的线描图。
And on the right side, you have the story of Kumbha when there is a drunken king. He's all the time drinking.
这右边也是一个本身故事的内容。
Okay, and there is a story of this is a very bad photo, very bad because painting is also in a very bad condition. But in old photographs and in old copies, you can recognize it was the story of an elephant.
在老照片当中，可以分辨出来它是关于大象的故事。
And this is the story of Mook Pangu.
呃，
Mook Pangu, that is Mook
啊
Pangu is
啊啊，
one
这个
deaf man.
OK，这个故事是关于雅跛仙人的内容。
And so this is a story of of a boy who was pretending to be deaf and dumb.
这个王子呢，假装他既哑不能说话，而且是脚有残疾。
He was actually a prince, and he was pretending to be deaf and dumb because he did not want to become a king because he had seen his father pronouncing death sentences.
他假装又跛又哑，因为他不想继承他的王位，因为他发现他的父亲宣布别人的死刑。
So that is why that is the story. Is a story of that guy, and then there is a story, a very beautiful story of Nanda on the left side, where you know the story of Nanda when he was the cousin of Lord Buddha.
左边展示的是难陀的故事，难陀是佛陀的兄弟。
So even after becoming a monk, he was missing his wife.
即使出家之后，他也非常想念他的妻子。
So it's a story. This is the story of that. So Buddha later on showed him the true gave him sermon and brought to him showed him the reality of things, and he was able to then understand.
佛陀在法会当中给他展示了真实世界的样子。
So yeah, now uh, now here this is a story of uh, Udai. This guy, this is a story of Ukalodai, dark complexioned man. He's a
sorry，
dark complexioned man. His name is Kalodai.
呃
Kalodai, dark guy.
也
Dark complexion.
呃
He's a black man, black. He looks very black.
对，这个故事是关于一个皮肤是黑色的一个王子。
So you see, he's drinking. You know, this his servant is offering this is a wine jar, and he's drinking all the time.
他的仆人给他提供了提供酒让他喝。
So the story is the story is one day the Buddha was coming nearby Kapilvastu, and Buddha sent somebody to invite. Sorry, the Shuddhodana, Buddha's father, sent somebody to invite the Buddha, come to the palace and have dinner.
呃佛陀的父亲金饭王邀请人去吃饭，
So the man who went there, he became a monk over there and did not return back.
那个人成为了和尚，并再没有回来。
Then the Suddhodana sent another man to go and and give my message to the Buddha that he should come and meet his father and have dinner here in my palace.
那个人给送信的人说，佛陀应该来到我的宫殿。呃
Yeah. And but again, he also did not come back. He went there and became a monk.
送信的人也没有回来，他也成为了一个和尚。
Then Suddhodana thought that let me send him the worst possible man who will never become a monk.
呃，这个王子是派了一个最不可能成为僧人的人去。
So this guy whose name is Udai, he was the son of the minister of Suddhodana.
这个人叫优陀耶，他也是一位王子。
And he was in love with his friend's wife.
Sorry，
He was this guy Kalodai Udai was in love with his friend's wife.
优陀耶喜欢他朋友的妻子。
And his friend had died actually. So his friend died, and so his wife was a widow. So he's with his wife's his deceased friend's wife.
他朋友去世之后，他朋友去世之后，他朋友就变成了寡妇。
So the Suddhodana thought that this man is so corrupt, morally corrupt. Uh, there is no chance that if I send a letter with him to the Buddha, then no chance. He can never become a monk, and he can give the letter and return back to me with the message from the Buddha. Is he coming or not?
呃，sorry，didn't
So I'm saying,
开。
I'm saying this guy was so morally corrupt that
哦，
Duryodhana thought, I will send this bad guy. He's a bad guy. He thought, "Okay, I will send this bad guy with a letter to Buddha that Buddha should come and have dinner."
呃
Or invitation. Invitation was sent through this man to the Buddha.
佛陀给这个人发了邀请。
Invitation was sent with this man when two invitation was sent and the Buddha did not and the messenger became monk. So third invitation was sent through this man. So third invitation was sent through this man. Are you able to understand?
Not really,
Okay.
sir.
So anyway, the story. Okay, I'll proceed. The story is that he goes and even he becomes a monk.
他成为了一名僧人。
He becomes a monk. After that, his wife, you see, his wife, she says, I also want to become a monk. So both of them, they become a monk.
他的妻子也想出家，所以他们最后两人都出家成为僧人。
So that's a very beautiful story about this Kalodai. Kalodai, dark character.
这是一个非常美妙的故事。
So I will now stop this uh, storytelling and go to the next part of our presentation.
接下来要进入下一部分的内容。
Right now, we describe some examples of narratives, painted narratives. Now, I will show you some examples of sculpted narratives.
接下来要展示的内容是叙事性的一些雕塑的内容。
So here it is the a story of Abhinishkrimana. That is when the Buddha leaves the home. Siddhartha, when Siddhartha leaves the home.
这一页展示的是释迦太子于城出家的内容。
So you can see here the his horse, Siddhartha's horse, and Channa, and here Siddhartha is cutting his hair.
右边可以看到释迦太子的马，以及释迦正在剪掉他的头发。
And here he is giving all his belongings, hair and all the ornaments and all his clothes, giving to the beggars.
他把他所有的财物和衣物给了乞讨者。
So so these are the scenes of going to the forest. He just leaves the palace.
他离开了宫殿，把所有的东西都放弃了，进入了森林。
This is in Ajanta. There are very few sculptures that are telling some story.
在阿占陀石窟只有很少的雕塑是介绍了故事的内容。
And there is one more here. One more story is here. This story is when Siddhartha witnesses four sights, four omens.
这一页展示的是佛陀出游四门的场景。
So here the Siddhartha is going and he is saying one leper, sick man.
佛陀看到了一个病人。
Now here Siddhartha is going and he is saying one old man.
佛陀看到了一个老人。
And here Siddhartha is going and he's seeing a dead man. People are walking with a dead man on their head.
这里是悉达多太子看到了一个死去的人。
And here the Siddhartha is seeing one ascetic sitting very happily.
一个苦行僧，非常的幸福。
So as you know very well, that these are the four sights that the Siddhartha saw, and then he decided that I want to become ascetic.
这个就是展示的是佛陀看到了四个场景，因此，释迦太子想说，我想出家。
This is painted in cave number 1. This is sculpted, carved in cave number 1.
这个是阿占陀第一窟雕塑的内容。
There are some other sculptures which are also we should see some other sculptures also which are also story narrative sculptures.
接下来是一些叙事性的雕塑。
This is the Parinirvana in cave number 26.
这是26窟卧佛涅槃的题材。
And it is.
但是在印度，涅槃题材只有这一例。
And I have a theory I recently published in my book that even this idea came from China.
教授在他的书中有一个理论说，you mean Nirvana from China?
Yeah, I mean, I proposed in my recent work. I'm not necessarily saying China. I'm saying from Gandhara, Central Asia, and China. I'm mixing these three. That from there, this idea came because in this cave, this Parinirvana image was not planned when this cave was begun.
教授的理论是涅槃题材可能来自于犍陀罗或者中国相近的区域。这个是涅槃是在26窟开凿的时候才制作的。
Many years after when this cave was being in the last period of this cave, millions of people, it is my hypothesis, many people came from Gandhara and Central Asia because there was a big disturbance going on in those areas.
教授的假设是在公元5世纪由成百 有几百万的人从犍陀罗或者中亚来到了阿占陀石窟这个区域。
So those people came and they introduced a lot of Gandharan ideas and Central Asian ideas and even Chinese ideas in India.
在那几百万人当中，他们来自犍陀罗、中亚或者中国的人，把这个涅槃的题材介绍到了阿占陀石窟。
It happened after circa 468 AD.
这件事，这个现象发生于公元460年之后。
Yeah. Okay, one more relief sculpture I will show you that Mara Vijaya, that is Buddha's victory over Mara.
呃，接下来要展示的是降魔变，佛陀战胜了魔王波旬。
You can see this Mara sitting in elephant is and all his demons, his army is attacking the Buddha.
魔王波旬坐在大象之上，他的魔军袭击佛陀。
Look at all those ferocious demons.
这些都是一些对应的魔军，
They are Mara's army, they are attacking.
他
And
们正
yeah,
他们这些魔军正在袭击佛陀。
so according to the story, first the Mara's daughters, three daughters, one, two, and three, they try to first they try to dance and try to lure the Buddha and break his meditation. They wanted to tempt him.
魔王波旬的3个女儿诱惑佛陀，因为佛陀正在打坐冥想。
So it is also sometimes called temptation of. This scene is also sometimes called temptation of Mara.
呃，这个情景也被称为，呃，诱诱呃诱惑
So
魔
when
王。
nothing happened, so when nothing happened, you see now Mara is going. From that he was became very sad, and he's going. He's walking away from the scene. He became
哦
so sad because Buddha is not disturbed.
因为佛陀没有受到影响，所以魔王波旬带着他的魔众离开了这个场景。
So I showed you two examples of sculptures, some examples of sculptures. One more example I want to show you, um, but some problem has happened in my computer, and uh, I will show you from here, cave number 7. Let me go to cave number 7.
接下来要展示的是阿占陀第7窟的内容。
There are two more examples I will show you of narratives in sculpture. Okay, so here, this is cave number 7 inside the sanctum sanctorum, inside the shrine.
这是第7窟，佛龛内部的塑像。
So inside the sanctum sanctorum, you have this Shakyamuni seated here, and on the left of Shakyamuni, you have three past Buddhas.
居中坐的是释迦牟尼，左边是过去的三个佛。
And on right side, you have three past Buddhas.
右侧也是过去的三个佛。
Yeah. So totally it is called Sapta Tathagata. There are 7 Buddhas. And actually, 5 Buddhas, pardon me, 5 Buddhas of the past, 6th is Shakyamuni, and 7th is the future Buddha.
这些这些叫过去7佛，其中有5个是过去佛，第6个是释迦牟尼佛，第7个是未来佛。
So this theme also, according to my research, came from Greater Gandhara area or China.
过去根据教授的研究，过去七佛，这个理论也是来自于大犍陀罗区域或者中国。
According to my research, this theme Sapta Tathagat never happened before 477 AD.
教授的观点是，过去七佛在公元6年之前从来没有出现过。
Nowhere in any Indian cave temples,
呃
nowhere in any Indian cave temple before 477 AD, this theme is never seen.
在公元477年之前，过去七佛在印度的石窟当中从来没有出现过。
It was only when Ajanta was abandoned, you know, and millions of refugees they came from the greater Gandhara area. They brought this theme here and introduced in Ajanta.
在阿占陀废弃之后，来自犍陀罗的难民把过去七佛的这个观点，带到了阿占陀石窟。
So yeah, that was my theme. And last slide, because it is already it is already quite late, and I think I have crossed my time. In the last 2 minutes, I will complete the last slide.
在最后的2分钟，教授会结束最后一张 PPT 的内容。
Timeline of Ajanta paintings.
这是教授制作的阿占陀石窟壁画的时间表。
So this is from 460 to 480. This is a timeline, and this is a dividing line.
呃
Because yeah,
这是从公元460年到公元480年，中间那个线条是一个间隔。
so in my research recently, it appeared that Ajanta, the 5th century Ajanta caves, they began from 460 AD, and the last date is 480 AD. This is basically Professor Walter Spink's chronology.
从公元468年到公元480年是，呃sorry，
Professor Walter Spink
哦，从公元468到公元480年是沃尔特斯宾克教授的观点。
is another great scholar who spent almost 50 to 60 years in trying to study the chronology of Ajanta caves.
呃，
Study the timeline of Ajanta caves.
沃尔特斯宾克是非常伟大的一个考古学家，他研究了阿占陀石窟的这个时间线或者说分期断代。
So this is essentially his timeline, which I have adapted and revised and changed and modified.
这是沃尔特斯宾克教授的观点。拉杰什教授接受了他，并且对他的理论有所修正，并且做了一些改变。
Yeah. So what I'm presenting now is my idea that up to 467 it was Savakyana.
从
Sravakyana up to 467 it was Sravakyana phase in Ajanta.
截止到公元467年呃是是申文称的阶段。
And after 467, that is from 468 onwards, it became Bodhisattva Yana.
从468年之后是进入到了菩萨称的阶段。
So during this 468, that time there was a dramatic change in Ajanta, not only Ajanta, entire Buddhist cave temple of India.
在那个阶段，整个印度的石窟发生了巨大的变化。
Everything was changed. This is the time when Bodhisattva comes. Before that, no Bodhisattva.
在这个阶段，菩萨称进入了印度， 印度石窟。
Before 468, no Buddha image.
在公元468年之前没有佛陀的形象。
Before 468, no Sanskrit scriptures, no canons.
在公元468年之前没有梵语的呃经典和戒律。
No Hariti, no Parinirvana, no Buddha, no Bodhisattva, no Manibhadra, no Purnabhadra, no Avilokiteshvara.
在公元468年之前没有佛陀，没有观音，呃，
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we can't count. It will take a very long time to count everything. But what the idea is that during this time, a lot of Gandhara, it is my proposition. It is my proposition that Gandhara was under attack. And
呃
yeah,
在468年那个阶段，犍陀罗受到了异族的攻击。
so when Gandhara was under attack, who attacked? The Alkhan Hans. They attacked the Gandhara area.
在那个阶段，阿尔可汗匈奴攻击了犍陀罗。
Actually, there were four Huns, many Huns. Alkan Huns, Hepthalite Huns, Kedarite Huns. They were fighting among themselves.
在那个阶段呢，很多匈奴互相的攻击，包括有白匈奴，还有中国北方的柔然。在那个阶段，他们互相的攻击。
And at that time in 460s, they were anti-Buddhist for sure.
呃
In 460s, they were anti-Buddhist for sure.
在公元460年，呃
And from that is why from Buddhist, they came from Gandhara and came to Middle India. They came to India and they brought Gandharan tradition in India.
在公元460年之后，来自犍陀罗的难民把犍陀罗的一些佛教的观点带到了阿占陀石窟。
And some of them, it is my hypothesis, it is my proposal that some of them also went to Xinjiang and introduced Gandharan tradition in Xinjiang, in the caves of Xinjiang region.
教授的假设是在那个阶段也有一些受到攻击的难民进入了新疆地区，把犍陀罗的一些佛教造像的理念或者方法带到了新疆。
So there is a connection between the art of Xinjiang and Greater Gandhara and India in the late 5th century AD.
在公元460年之后，新疆、犍陀罗和印度的石窟有联系。
Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you. Thank you. Presentation is over. Thank you.
教授的讲座到此结束。
Professor Liling, over to you.
李老师。
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rajesh, sir, for your wonderful lectures. Your lecture gave me many challenge, give me many inspiration to thinking about many images or many themes. 好，首先呢，谢谢雷石教授的精彩演讲。嗯、其实他是最近是生病了哈，就是他也是刚从阿占陀回来，然后前2天嗓子说不出来话，今天我觉得还好吧，他咳嗽了一点儿哈，我还很担心。嗯、这个讲座呢，是就是我邀请拉杰什先生做的阿扎石窟第2讲，还有一讲。其实呢，拉杰什先生他主要的兴趣和研究呢是石窟考古，就是石窟类型啊什么。上一节课其实他讲了一点点那个中心柱窟，然后我说我的学生都是搞图像的，我说给我们讲点图像，所以今天呢他就是讲了一些图像还有雕塑。呃其实是非常有趣的，因为阿占陀的那个壁 画，跟敦煌似的，就是它内容特别多。刚才那个教授也给我们介绍了。其实呢，教授的那个观点是对我来说是有很大的冲击。虽然我不完全同意他的观点，但是呢，让我思考很多。比方说，他提到的声闻乘和菩萨乘，因为之前他提过菩萨乘和大乘，他认为不是一个东西。那么到底什么是菩萨乘？其实呢，就是我觉得他没有说清楚，就是表现了菩萨是不是代表就是菩萨乘，这是我一个观点。因为我一直认为印度一直是小乘。当然了，就是8、9世纪的时候，它出现了密教哈，那另外一回事儿。就是5世纪的时候，虽然它表现了菩萨，我认为它依然属于是小乘的。虽然有很多菩萨像，另外一个就是千佛题材，千佛题材到底是大乘还是小乘？我认为在印度。表现的大部分的千佛实际上是小乘，这是我的观点哈。我并不认为它是菩萨乘。然后另外还有呢，就是他提到的，就是在公元5世纪的时候，阿占陀地区受到了匈奴的攻击，然后很多的难民，就是僧人呐、工匠呀，然后大量的跑到了印度。这个是有可能的。刚才他也给我们举了一些例子，其实我也关注到，比方说在印度。5世纪之前是没有燃灯佛受记的，而燃灯佛的这个故事呢，是在贾拉拉巴德发生的，在犍陀罗非常非常流行。那么在5世纪的时候，印度出现了，就是干黑利石窟，干黑利石窟开始有了，但是非常非常少。鬼子母的图像也是在5世纪的时候以后才有的。然后还有就是舍卫城神变，就今天教授也给我们讲了舍卫城神变。舍卫城神变在犍陀罗艺术当中是非常多的。我们现在假定那种雕塑就是舍卫城神变，比方说在白沙瓦博物馆、拉合尔博物馆都有那个非常巨大的那个就跟立雕一样的。当然，这种图像也是在5世纪以后才出现在印度大陆的。这个有可能是就是匈奴对犍陀罗破坏以后，这些佛教的这种传播冲击到这边。但是呢，其中有2个我是有一些至少我不是非常同意的，就是那个涅盘像，涅盘像还有一个就是呃还有个什么来着，我忘了，现在想不起来。一个是涅盘题材，还有七佛，对，还有七佛。嗯，七佛在那个巴尔胡特塔有，刚才我看那个有的朋友在那个对话框里提到，在桑奇也有，因为桑奇塔我是写了书了，虽然现在还没出来哈，我是非常非常清楚的，它就很早就有，但是它没有以人格化的佛像表现，因为我们知道人格化佛像表现是到1世纪以后才有的，但是七佛这个观念肯定是很早的，而且呢，它就是小乘的。嗯，我不认为它是从犍陀罗过来的。另外一个就是那个涅盘，涅盘像呢，至少我在纳西克石窟，印度的纳西克石窟，还有阿拉加巴德石窟都看到过。当然阿拉加巴德更晚一些，它可能是6世纪、7世纪的，但是纳西克石窟肯定是5世纪的。呃，当然没有这个阿占特20号窟这么巨大哈，但是它不是唯一的，这是我不同意的地方。呃，其实其他有很多就是教授那个给我们讲的这些东西，我觉得是非常具有启发性的，就是让我们去思考很多问题，就是这个犍陀罗艺术到底影响的规模有多大，影响到什么程度？我觉得这是我们要思考的一个问题。然后另外呢，就是今天拉杰什教授给我们看的这个阿占陀石窟这个分类，我觉得是非常清晰的。因为在这之前呢，其实我也没有非常清楚的这样去分，因为阿占的石窟，我一直也不敢去写，因为我觉得它东西太多了。但是今天那个来这教授讲了之后呢，我就觉得好像清晰了一些，似乎有一点勇气去写它了。嗯、我看还有什么内容，嗯、然后另外就是他提到的那个施林洛夫还有莫妮卡金，他们都是研究阿占特石窟。其实莫妮卡金不仅仅是研究阿占特石窟了哈，他是就是非常明显的德国那种传统，就是自己能写能画，就是他的书都是他自己画的那种，图都是他自己画的。所以呢，就是我们在搞研究的时候，其实这些学者我们要了解，然后他们的成果我们要了解。另外一个就是印度的石窟艺术， 无论是壁画也好，无论是本生还是佛传，它大部分来自于巴利文献。呃，今天呢，那个刘刚老师给我们介绍的就是非常清楚哈，他也做了功课，非常感谢他。所以呢，我们在听，或者想要了解印度佛教的时候，一定要多了解一些巴利文献。巴利文文献就是南传的。如果你的知识结构只是大乘佛教、汉传佛教，就是很难去听懂印度的东西。包括它的文献，包括它的本身故事，因为很多印度的本身故事在汉地是没有出现的，你就很难去了解它。这大概就是我今天听了拉杰什教授一个体会吧，就是他给我们提供了很多很多启发吧。我们不能要求一个教授他是 perfect，全部都是完美的，所有的观点都是完美无缺的，但是给我们启发，我觉得是非常非常重要的。嗯，这就是我今天的一点儿体会吧，跟大家分享哈。OK，thank you, Rajesh sir. 嗯，I just talking about my idea after listening your lecture. Give me some thinking. 嗯，OK，I'm stop here. 好，我们好像现在也9点了哈，我们给1到2个问题吧，让大家。OK，this time is for question and answer. Only 1 or 2 questions because now is already 9 o'clock. OK，
Yeah. Yeah.
就是我们那个提问可以直接问，也可以那个打到对话框里头。
Thank you,
好，
Professor Rajesh. Thank you, Mr. Li. 李老师可以提问吗？
OK，please。
And thank you very much for the sharing. It's very informative and insightful. I have one question and one suggestion. 我有一个问题和一个建议。May I save the suggestion first? May I suggest that we use Google Translation to make the PPT bilingual before the presentation, so it will be more effective and more easier for the attendants to understand, and it will save a lot of time. And my suggestion is， 我想建议一下，下次就是老师那个 PPT 可不可以事先用那个翻译软件把它翻译成中英文双语的？我觉得这样的话就可以节约大家的时间，也可以给那个翻译的刘刚老师减少一些压力哈，我们听起来也会更容易。那再问一个问题 ，Professor Rajesh，may I ask that is it a common figure of all Indian caves that narrative content is only on the walls, not on the ceiling or on the pillar of the caves? Because this is very special. We don't see it in China.
Yeah, that's common in India. Narrative episodes are generally not found on the ceiling of Indian caves.
So this is a special character for India, or is also in Gandhara or other parts of the world or Middle Asia?
For Gandhara, Professor Ling can say.
李老师，
呃我其实没有去过阿富汗那边，但是我去巴基斯坦去了很多次。就是巴基斯坦是没有石窟的，首先是没有石窟的，所以呢，就是这个没法比较。
我就是发觉这个，刚才 Rajesh 教授讲了一个很有意思的点，说只有在墙壁上才有这个叙事性内容，窟顶和石柱啊这些地方都是没有，只有装饰性内容。我觉得这是一个很有意思的点，所以我问是不是只是印度独有的？他说在印度非常的常见，但我在中国好像不是这样的哈。
对对，我们那个就是窟顶像敦煌什么，上面也都是叙事的。
是的，是的。好，我没有问题了。Thank you very much。
谢谢你的提问，Thank you so much。One more question， 再来一个问题，因为现在已经9点了。One more question。Okay, if no any question, we will stop here. And thank you, Rajesh sir, again.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me time and opportunity. So in the next lecture, we will go more into the historical aspects and architecture.
Okay, we are looking forward your third lectures.
Yeah.
Okay, stop here.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
谢谢大家，谢谢拉杰什教授。